Good afternoon, and welcome to the first session in our Diversity Upfront series, No Skin Left Behind. We believe in equality. In these roundtable discussions, it is our hope to highlight the importance of inclusivity and representation, both in the skincare industry and our world. As a company that would not be where we are today without our diverse network of estheticians around the globe, we believe in amplifying the voices of every client, employee, leader, and skincare professional in our community. Today, we will focus on Black skin with a dynamic discussion led by licensed esthetician Jacqueline Hill and panelists Cameron Cooper and Bianca Charday Richardson. Over the next few months, we have planned additional sessions to expand our diversity reach. Without further ado, please welcome our moderator, Jacqueline, and our special guest panelists, Cameron and Bianca.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Leslie, for that introduction. I have to say to you guys that I am so excited to be able to moderate this panel. As a global skincare company, we really want to make sure that we highlight everyone in our community. And this is our first inaugural panel to be able to do that. So before we got to talking to our panelists, I wanted to share a little bit of interesting statistics on African Americans and their purchasing power in the beauty industry. So we'll start with something that I got from hypo.com, which says that Black consumers spend 9 times more on hair and beauty. So if this is a community that you're not currently reaching out to, you definitely should. Also on retaildive.com, African American buying power is on the rise from its current more than $1 trillion being spent. And then also something that's very, very interesting, because we really tend to focus on women in our industry, is that African American women purchase about 84% of the beauty for their household. So if you do happen to get an African American woman in your treatment room, just know that she's not purchasing just for herself, but pretty much for her whole family. And so since we're talking about treatments, I thought we would start with our panelist, Cameron. Cameron is a model and a licensed esthetician, as well as an entrepreneur, and he is going to be our voice speaking for our licensed skincare therapist. So welcome, Cameron.
Hey, everybody.
Excited to see you back with Image. So let's just get started. Can you tell me a little bit about how you got started in professional skincare?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've actually always had a love for skincare for myself. And just kind of growing up and having my own skincare concerns, be it folliculitis from around my beard area, from shaving, hyperpigmentation from not knowing the proper sun protection that I should have been wearing when outside. All those things led me up to, building a routine and a regimen that worked for myself. And then I wanted to be able to share that with other people. So that's why I went to school, became an esthetician, and now I'm able to craft and curate special treatments for other people.
So I love that for us today, you are kind of representing 2 different segments of our community. So of course, we're focusing today a little bit on Black skin, but also on men who tend to be underrepresented in our industry.
Yes.
And even in our spas and salons. So talk a little bit toward that, please.
Absolutely. So like you mentioned, like the skincare community is already so heavily populated with a female presentation. That's a lot of what we see. But there's, of course, men's skincare, and men have to take care of their skin as well. I wanted to be able to change the perception of what skincare looks like. It's not solely a feminine thing. It's more so about self-care. And I wanted the men to be able to start taking better care of their skin as well, just so we can represent and, be a positive face for the skincare community as well.
Absolutely. So I love that, Cameron. So having skin of color and treating a lot of skin of color, tell me about any kind of challenges that you see that are unique or maybe more common to skin that has a lot of melanin in it.
Absolutely. Skin of color, especially, we face higher risk of having hyperpigmentation after any type of inflammatory injury, be it that it's acne, be it that it's from ingrown hair or folliculitis around the beard or neck area or anywhere on the body really. Because we already have melanin in our skin present, it already makes us more susceptible to having hyperpigmentation afterwards. And it's called PIH is what we call it, which is post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. So along with like we mentioned, the razor bumps and the hyperpigmentation, all of those things, they actually require special attention and special treatments to be able to properly, you know, cure or treat that particular concern.
So those are things that you see a lot. Do you also deal with like a lot of the myths with our skin? Some of the myths, you know, like black skin doesn't age. So we have like, you know, you hear a lot like black don't crack, or
Yeah.
you hear that we don't need sunscreen, or, you know, black skin is really resilient because it's very dark. So what are some of the myths when it comes to dealing with skin that's darker?
Absolutely. Like you mentioned, like we hear it all the time, black don't crack, because you do see people of color that are older and don't have wrinkles and they have great skin. But I'm sure, and I'm sure for those people, you know, they do have a curated routine and regimen that they've crafted for themselves. Like you mentioned, sunscreen, that is something that I preach about to all of my clients, especially the ones of color, because we don't realize that if while we're treating our acne and things like that, if we're not properly protecting our skin with sunscreen, it's only going to make that problem worse. So it's about really changing the mentality of not just our people, but other people as well, that our skin can't always take the most harsh treatments, or all of our skin types are not the same. You do have people of color that have oily skin or that have dry skin or sensitive skin. So you have to treat each person individually, but also understand that, you know, because of the melanin in our skin, it takes certain special treatment.
Yeah, so I really love that point that you made, because just because the skin may be similar in tone doesn't mean that all of the skin is the same. So
Exactly.
even skin that's similar in tone is diverse. It can be oily, it can be dry, it can be problematic. So I love that. So we're dealing with these different kinds of challenges. What are some of your favorite products to use on darker skin to treat acne and folliculitis and some of those things that you were talking about?
Absolutely. So we have complex complexions. Like our skin is not always exactly. Our skin is not all even, and it's not all the same tone everywhere. Some of us have a darker perimeter. Some of us are lighter on our bodies and our face. So you have to be able to treat those things specifically. So speaking of products and treatments, I always recommend that people start with a facial, because facials can all be customized specific to your skin type and your skin concerns. But one that I love for especially treating hyperpigmentation is the Ageless Cleanser, the Total Facial Cleanser. It already has an amazing blend of your AHAs, BHAs, your lactic acids that are all going to work together to be able to help exfoliate the skin and lift up the additional pigment. Moving on, to give your skin that additional brightness and help exfoliate a little bit further, the Vital C enzyme mask is a gentle way of introducing my newer clients and beginners into a way to exfoliate their skin, but also help treat that hyperpigmentation as well.
Okay.
Another treatment that I like doing is either like a microdermabrasion or a dermaplane, or even like chemical peels. But all of those things, those three that especially that I mentioned, they all must be performed by a licensed professional to make sure that they're taking the proper steps and precautions to protect your skin. Because if you do these treatments at home, like you've been seeing a lot of people, these things and these trends can cause irreversible damage to your skin. So it's very, very important that you see a professional. But what I like to follow up with a lot of those treatments is the Max, the stem cells serum. It's an amazing rejuvenating serum that's going to replump the skin with the nutrients that it needs to promote the cell turnover and help improve that hyperpigmentation as well. And another one that's great for the hyperpigmentation, since we're talking about it, look, you're already getting excited, Jacqueline. Look, I'm telling you, this is one of my favorites as well. The Illuma Intense, the brightening powder. And again, it's another gentle way of introducing people to how to better exfoliate their skin and improve their hyperpigmentation. That's an amazing, amazing line.
Yeah. All right. So you touched on a couple of things that I absolutely love. One was that you need to see a professional for these treatments.
Yes.
I think it's so hard because a lot of us are still at home, Cameron, and so we miss our estheticians, we miss our dermatologists, we are missing our skin professionals. So it's better for them to be focusing on products right now when they're at home, and then come back later whenever their state allows them to come see our professionals. And then the other thing, you talked a lot about hyperpigmentation and brightening the skin. And I think a lot of people get that mixed up with like bleaching the skin. So if I use the Illuma, if I use the Vital C, like how light is it going to make me? Because I want to keep my nice brown. I don't want to go too light. Is that a challenge?
That is. And you know, that's actually the other side. It's called hypopigmentation when it's the loss of pigment. Right. But that's why, again, we stress the importance of seeing a professional, because we're able to treat both of those concerns. We want to be able to protect against either or. But in regard to the hyperpigmentation, you want to make sure, like we mentioned, that you're seeing a professional, that you're using your sunscreen, that you're following treatments that are specific to your skin concern. Because like we mentioned, like the chemical peels use a variety of different acids, and they each have different molecular cell sizes, and that can actually penetrate the skin at different layers. So you want to make sure that you're doing all of these treatments under the proper care of a professional.
Yeah, absolutely. So that way you get a nice even skin tone.
Even skin tone. Yes. We're not trying to take away our melanin. We're trying to just improve, enhance, and even the skin tone. That's it.
Perfect. All right. So if I am a skincare therapist and I haven't had a lot of experience working with skin that has a lot of melanin in it, what are some tips and tricks that you can give me to get kind of diversify my clientele a little bit more?
Absolutely. Hopefully we have some of these very people on this call today, on this Zoom event, because this is a great way. You're being a part of that conversation. You want to put yourself in front of it. If you can, watch other estheticians, watch other YouTube videos of people of color and how we're treating our skin. See if you can do a virtual facial, or see if you can sit in on a consultation with someone of color. That way they're teaching you the different ways that they treat their clients of color as well. You can even I compare it to like being a hairstylist almost. Like all hairstylists, like you don't only work on one type of hair. You have to get practice on different types of hair to be able to know how to properly style that hair. It's the same with skincare. You have to practice on different types of skin, different skin tones, and people of color to be able to better know how to treat that skin type.
All right, that was absolutely awesome. So I love all the tips and tricks that you gave us. And so speaking of seeking out a professional, we are going to actually go to our next panelist. So our next panelist is also a model. I'm just surrounded by beautiful people today. But she is also an entrepreneur. She is the founder of a not-for-profit, Love Yourself, and she is a model. So welcome, Bianca. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
So Bianca, your lifestyle is busy. You are a model, so you always have on makeup. You're always in front of a camera. You run a not-for-profit. You're an entrepreneur. You have a super busy schedule, and all of that tended to manifest on your skin. So tell us some of the challenges that you saw on your skin, and a little bit about your skincare journey.
So I would say my skincare journey started with, my mother and my grandmother, growing up, etiquette and learning how to take care of yourself and hygiene, that was extremely important to them. So I received my first skincare kit when I was about 11 or 12 years old, and I was completely obsessed with it. But the one thing that stuck with me, and that still sticks with me today, is my grandmother always told me that, your makeup is not going to look good, baby, until your skin looks good. And so it's kind of like having a clean canvas, for skin. And so that just resonated with me, and it still does. And with my schedule, Jesus, I've had some struggles. I get the puffy eyes when I haven't had enough rest. The hydrogel mask is phenomenal for that. And I think I'm going to piggyback off of Cameron. Like, water has helped me tremendously, just with rest, putting that extra hydration into your body. That's extremely vital. And I've struggled with folliculitis as well. And I think a lot of African American people struggle with folliculitis. A number of African American people, whether it's men or women, whether it's in your, bikini line area. I've done it. I've struggled. That process of learning how to shave, or even facial hair. I think we all struggle with some type of follicle issues, and I struggle with hyperpigmentation as well. So Image has been phenomenal for correcting, preventative as well.
I love how you combine like drinking water and getting rest with taking care of your skin, because it's all a process, right? It's like all part of self-care.
Absolutely.
So excited that everything that grandmama and mama gave you was not wasn't absolutely the best, and maybe you wanted to venture out and get some more skincare.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about when you were looking for care specifically for your skin. Did you see that like things were lacking in the industry?
Right.
What were you looking for, and what did you not find, and how did you get to Image?
I would say that, going to a dermatologist initially and having an esthetician have been, somewhat of a symbiotic relationship. Growing up, struggling, like I said, with folliculitis, eczema, psoriasis, having extremely sensitive skin, depending upon, hormonal things, you had to get the cystic acne. Jesus, right around this area, it's like, gosh, you have to come around this time of the month when I'm going to have a photo shoot or I'm on television. There are a number of things, but I can say that I have gotten more results from having an esthetician and going to a professional on a consistent basis, as well as being consistent with your at-home care. So it's a commitment with going to your esthetician and, having a consistent at-home care regimen. And the thing is, I say this often, listening to your skin, paying attention to your skin, to what your skin needs. It's the same thing if you were paying attention to your body. Oh, well, I know that I'm thirsty, I'm hungry, What are you going to do when you get hungry? You're going to eat. If you're thirsty, you're going to, get a beverage. So it's the same thing with your skin. And so although I am consistent with the line that I use, I'm extremely consistent, but I use different products contingent upon what my skin needs at that time.
No, I love that. So I happen to know your esthetician, and she is amazing. But I also happen to know that she is not a person of color. So
Absolutely.
tell us a little bit about that. Like, did you have any hesitation going to somebody whose skin did not look like yours, or how did she gain your trust, or how could other people looking to expand gain the trust of everybody in their community?
Correct. I think, it's always going to be a gamble, even if it is someone of color. It doesn't necessarily mean that they are skilled in your skin condition, So I think it's finding someone that works for you. And so for me, I know that initially when I first started going to my current esthetician, I had hyperpigmentation issues because I had laser hair removal. And no one educated me, with laser hair removal. And clearly, the particular professional that I went to, that, people of heavily melanated people, you have to be careful what type of laser you use on our skin when removing hair. And so I wasn't educated on that when I had it done. So those were the areas that I was correcting. And so for me, she gained my trust by, it's like a trial and error, I started seeing kind of the results from her work. Microderm has been amazing. Lactic acid has been, my skin loves glycolic, lactic, not so much as salicylic sometimes, but glycolic and lactic. Oh, those are my best friends. So that's what gained my trust. And as far as Image, we met at an event.
Yes.
I'm a brand ambassador, and I'll be honest with you. I know this is off the record. Initially, I was like, who is this beautiful, dark-skinned woman like me? And she got up to speak, and she works corporately for this brand. And I'll be honest with you, I am skeptical sometimes with products that I use, especially when you look at the actual product and you look at their advertisement. And, if the advertisement sometimes doesn't reflect someone who looks like me, you automatically assume that the product is not going to work.
Right.
Right. And so me and seeing, the myriad of cultures, the melting pot of cultures at Image events, and even in seeing you and meeting you from miles away, I was like, I met you, 2.5, maybe 3 years ago, and I have been stuck with Image since then.
Yeah, awesome. So I love that. And I love that you were open. So I think that's super important for everybody who is, you know, looking to work with everybody in their community, that you be open, that it's all about education. And I love that you were open to trying different things till you found something that works on your skin. So that is the beauty really of working with a professional, is they can walk you through that trial and error journey, but a little bit more focused on their skin. So for all of our women of color out there who are listening today and they are not skin therapists, and maybe they're not working with a skin therapist yet, what would some advice that you would give them to go out there and start their skin journey so, you know, they can be modelists like you?
I would say one is, you know how you get to know someone? You know, consider yourself like falling in love with someone, like your skin. So fall in love with your skin, get to know your skin, get to know your skin's needs and why. And that's going to change. Like, honestly, the same products that I was able to use when I was, I'm not going to tell my age, but when I was a little younger, they don't really work for me now. You know, my skin doesn't really respond, honestly, and, you know, with the season. So I would say really get to know your skin and listen to your skin. And sunscreen is your best friend. Sunscreen and exfoliation, those are my two best friends. And the other thing that I also learned, you know, like it's, you know, when you get your hair done, and they say that the basis of getting your hair done, if you want body or volume, is at the bowl when you wash it, you know, wash it and condition it, especially when it's damp. And I feel like it's the same kind of concept with your skin, you know, like the basis of that conditioning is going to be when you wash it. And so finding a very, very great cleanser is going to be cleansing and exfoliation and sunscreen, you know, and get to know your skin.
All right. So you got to fall in love with your skin and then find somebody to help you fall in love with your skin. Okay. I love that. So that was great feedback, I feel like, from the professional side and the consumer side. And I would love now, Leslie, to see if we have any questions that came in. And then we'll just pitch them to whoever they are most suited for.
Perfect. So we do have some questions. I have a couple of questions, but we'll start with questions for Bianca, since she's up there on the screen looking beautiful.
Okay.
So the first question that came through is, Bianca, how often do you have a facial treatment or see your esthetician?
I try to go at least twice a month. Keyword, I try. And I'll be honest with you, I am from my esthetician. You have to I use Image MD. Which is, you know, it's a very professional grade, that line. And you have to get it from your esthetician, which is why I use that, because I'll be honest, some months I can't. But typically I try to go twice a month. I get microderm or some type of peel and or both. And honestly, this depends upon what my skin needs. Since I use the Image MD line, the cleanser, the restoring cleanser has glycolic, salicylic, as well as lactic acid. So to me, it's like a microdermabrasion in a bottle, you know? Yeah. So I would have to say at least twice a month, and definitely I get extractions at least one time out of that month as well.
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome.
Next question. This comes from someone who typed in, she would like to know, what are some key questions as a woman of color when I'm shopping for an esthetician?
All right. Who wants to take that?
Oh, well, sorry, that could be Bianca. That question was for you. Sorry, Bianca.
Bianca, I like that.
I think there's nothing wrong. Like, you know, honestly, like, you know, when you go to, for instance, they're different types of physicians for different types of issues. You have neurologists, you have optometrists, you have ophthalmologists, you have gynecologists. So I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with asking whatever your skincare needs are, especially as a woman of color. Hey, are you experienced with African-American skin? There's nothing wrong with that. And same thing as a salon. You know, if you go, there's certain salons, you're like, you know what, I'm not experienced. They don't say African-American, say ethnic hair. There's absolutely nothing wrong with asking. And honestly, sometimes someone may say, I'm not that experienced, and there's nothing, you know, you just fine. Also, what types of products do you use? I do ask those type of questions as well. What type of products that you use? What's in the products? I research, and I do look on Yelp. I look at their reviews and their social media to see who's tagging them.
No, those are really great questions. I think that's valid. Awesome. What else
All
do we
right,
have?
we have another one for Bianca, and then I'll switch
Okay.
over the questioning to Cameron.
Okay, awesome.
Bianca, you mentioned wearing sunscreen. Do you wear it daily or just when you're going out in the sun?
So the other thing that I learned from my esthetician, as well as Jacqueline, is that just because it's, you're not outside, or even if it's during the winter, you still have those damaging UV rays, regardless of the season, regardless of the type of weather. I use it every day. Actually, I use the one that I use the Restoring Daily Defense Moisturizer. It's from the Image MD line, but it's SPF 50, but I use it every day. And I can honestly tell you, my hyperpigmentation has not been as bad since I've been using sunscreen on a consistent basis. And then if I need double moisture, I'll put, whatever my serum is and my moisturizer, and then I'll put the sunscreen on top of that, because sometimes my skin does get dry.
Right. Awesome.
Thank you
That's
for
one of my
answering those
favorites.
questions. Okay, so I'm gonna put Cam in the hot seat. We're gonna put you over here. Okay, so we had some questions for Cameron.
All right.
What are your favorite products to treat dark spots after breakouts?
That's a great question. One of my favorite products, as we touched on a little bit earlier, is also one of Jacqueline's favorites, is anything from the Illuma line. The target of that line is to be able to tackle and target hyperpigmented areas. So anything from the Illuma line, start with the cleanser. You can either use the exfoliating powder, and they also have an intense brightening serum as well, which you can use after you've treated the hyperpigmentation or the acne flare-up that might have occurred.
Absolutely.
All right.
That's my desert island product. I can't live without.
Next question for Cam. What would be a good process for minimizing razor bumps while at home when shaving your face and neck?
That's a great one, especially for my men, and especially men of color. It's going to be really, really important that you exfoliate before you shave, making sure that you kind of lift up those dead skin cells, loosen up the skin, and also help soften the hair before you go into shaving is going to be really, really important. And then making sure that you're using a shaving gel or something that's going to be soothing to the skin after you shave, and then cleaning the skin afterwards. So be it that you're using some type of toner or something, or go in and cleanse your face. I think using the clear cell line would be a great option for you afterwards and before for the exfoliation, to make sure that you're killing or eliminating and reducing the amount of bacteria that's on the surface of the skin.
All right, thank you for that answer. All right, are you ready for the next question?
Oh, let's go.
Okay, this is for Cameron, of course. How do you treat clients with folliculitis?
That's one of my specialties. Because I've had to tackle it and manage it myself for my skin, one of the most important things is going to be to remove that ingrown hair first. So making sure that we do the proper extractions, cleansing the area properly, and then going in with, I actually love using the high frequency treatment because that targets those areas to bring oxygen to the skin and help reduce the amount of bacteria. What folliculitis is basically an inflamed follicle caused by the introduction of bacteria and sebum into the pore. So those are the things we want to be able to tackle. So again, using anything from the clear cell line to help reduce that bacteria. And then I love going in, like I said, with the high frequency to, again, help reinforce the reduction of bacteria.
All right, and I have a last question for you. And then Jacqueline, I have some questions for you. Cameron, which image peels are safe for darker skin tones?
Absolutely. Like we mentioned earlier, making sure that you seek a professional is going to be the utmost important, but it's really going to be tailored to your skin type. So we would want to definitely have you come in personally or have a virtual consultation so we could see your skin type. They offer the signature peel or the Ormetic lift, which I think would be great ones to start out with. But we would definitely want to have you come in, or I could see you via virtual consultation to be able to see your skin type. Like we mentioned, just because our skin tone may be the same, doesn't mean our skin type and skin conditions are all the same. So we want to be able to address your specific hyperpigmentation, but also keeping in mind your skin condition and skin type.
Thank you, Cameron. All right, Jacqueline.
Yes.
All
I
right.
didn't know I was going to be in the hot seat.
Well, you are. Okay. What products would you suggest to do before an image peel?
So that that is a really, really good question. And kind of how Cameron was saying that it really is based on the skin type. But I will say, since we are focusing today on skin that has a little bit more melanin in it, is one of the complications we want to make sure that we do not have is post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. So you definitely want to be using something that is a brightener in their regimen every day, twice a day. I love the Illuma serum or the Illuma cream. I think it needs to be something that you leave on the skin. I always make it a little funny. I tell them they need to make their melanocytes do yoga. They got to chill out. They got to relax. Otherwise, they get super excited when you put a peel on them. So something from Illuma, serum or cream, twice a day, and up to 3 to 4 weeks, maybe 5 weeks, depending on the tone of the skin, prior to introducing acids to the skin. So doing some enzymatic treatments first, and then really getting their skin prepped to go in and do a peel. We also have some really great webinars and trainings. So for our therapists that are out there, log on, watch the trainings. They literally walk you through it step by step on what to do.
Thank you, Jacqueline. Next question for you. For clients of color, specifically African Americans who are on Accutane, what products would you recommend to prevent dryness and dehydration?
So that's awesome. So for Accutane, I love to stay away from anything exfoliating. So I'm loving Vital C if their skin can handle it. But the Ormetic is absolutely amazing for that. Typically with Accutane, we're talking about somebody, of course, who has oily skin, cystic acne. So they're really going to like, even though the Accutane is drying the sebum out, in their head, they still think they're oily, even though they may look dry. So I always say you have to treat the person, skin and the person, right? You got to treat them mentally too. So they typically tend to like the Ormetic because it's lightweight, it's anti-inflammatory, it's super smoothing, and introducing into the biopeptide cream, which is going to lightly hydrate the skin. They're going to be beautiful and glowing like Cam when they're all done, because it has like a highlighter peptide in it as well. So the Vital C, and then I really, really love the Ormetic, and then Ormetic lip because their lips get really dry. And sunscreen. Lots of sunscreen.
Thank you, Jacqueline. Those are all of our questions for today. Would you like to close us out?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I would like to say thank you to my panel. I'm so glad that you guys, and honored that you guys shared this day with us. Thank you for everybody who tuned in. If we didn't get to your questions, keep them coming. We'll try to answer them later. And I hope that you guys all grab something from this. And then starting with Cameron, if anybody would love to make an appointment with you or a virtual appointment with you, or just follow and see all the amazing things you do with skin, how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, you guys can all follow my esthetician page, which is at Skin by Cam on Instagram. It's skin, SKIN, .by.cam, CAM.
All right, awesome. We will follow you there. And Miss Bianca, if everybody wants to see you kind of slaying life and then watching all of the beautiful things that you're doing with your not-for-profit organization and modeling, how can they follow you?
Yes, I am on Facebook and Instagram as the Bianca Chardee, and it's THE, and that's Bianca, BIANCA, and then CHARDEI. And my website is the same thing as thebiancachardee.com.
Okay. So again, thank you guys thanks to everyone who tuned in. Remember, this is the first of 3. So next month we are going to be focusing on that next skin, which I'm also very excited about. Even some rock star people who are within the image corporation, talking about marketing, talking about product development. So I am very, very excited that I feel like we slayed this first one of our series, and I hope that you guys tune in next month as we continue to talk about all of the different beautiful skin in our global community.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye,
you,
everyone.
guys. Bye.
Bye, everyone.